Hello and welcome to my new video. After testing the HLG picture profile the Panasonic G9 got with the latest firmware update, I was really impressed with the image quality. So today I'll show you how I shoot and edit HLG and how it compares to the natural picture profile I used before. When shooting HLG you can't trust your exposure meter because it will show you that the image is overexposed by a few stops. So you have to use other assist features in your camera to get the exposure right. When you use zebras, you should set your zebras to 90%. The reason why is normally in 10-bit you get a luminance level of 1023, but in HLG you only get up to 940. And 940 out of 1023 is about 92%. So when you set your zebras to 90%, you should be safe and your highlights should not be clipping. Since the displays of the G9 can't show you the full dynamic range of HLG footage, you have an HLG view assist mode or two view assist modes. Mode 1 gives priority to the brightest areas, and mode 2 gives priority to the brightness of your main subject. You can also use a waveform monitor to expose your HLG footage correctly. It is included in the VLOOK Alki, but I still haven't gotten mine, so I couldn't test this so far. So now let's take a look at how I edit HLG footage. If you use DaVinci Resolve Studio version like I do, you can just drag and drop the footage into your timeline. And it already looks good right from the start. Then you can go to the color tab and do some adjustments. I usually use the curve, do a bit of contrast and saturation, and you should do some more color corrections. The skin tones look a bit too yellow, but the image overall looks quite good. You can also use a LUT to convert your footage. I used a LUT from Nick Driftwood. I will leave a link down below in the description. After applying the LUT, the colors look more natural, especially the skin tones. And then you can grade your footage from there and do some additional corrections or grading. Another method to get the colors right would be to use the Color Space Transform OpenFX plugin. You just drag it onto your node, and then you need to do some adjustments. First choose the input color space Rec 2020, the input gamma, which is Arab STD B67 HLG. Now the image looks a bit weird, but we fix it soon. You have to choose a tone mapping, and I worked with simple so far. And gamut mapping I set to 0.8. You could then add another node and do some adjustments to your footage. It's still a bit bright, so you can bring it down by adding a curve. You could do some contrast and saturation adjustments. Maybe if the color is still a bit off, you could also do some color correction. And then the image looks quite nice. So this was a short overview of editing HLG footage. I found the method with LUT conversion or color space transform look best. Without a color space transformation, the colors look a bit off and you would have to correct them manually. So I would prefer to use either a LUT conversion or the OpenFX plugin. Now let's take a look at some comparison shots I took with the natural profile and with the HLG profile. For these tests I filmed scenes with high dynamic range because here you can see the differences between the picture profiles. In this scene the sun is on the right side just outside the frame, and this produces some really harsh shadows in the natural profile. Whereas in the HLG profile, the picture looks more pleasing. The roll off in the highlights and in the shadows is much smoother than in natural. So here you can already see the better dynamic range of HLG. In the second sample I filmed in the shadow of a small tower. The sun is right behind this tower, and as you can see the image looks quite good in both profiles, but I had to lift the shadows by quite a bit in the natural profile, and this introduced a lot of noise. Here we have a vlogging style scene. We are filming in the direction of the sun, and as you can see my face and my clothes are quite dark, and as I turn my back against the sun and we are filming directly into the sun, the sky is blowing out. Filmed with HLG, we still have some blown out parts in the sky when we film directly into the sun, but my face and my clothes are much brighter and have more detail in them. And comparing these images side by side shows a really big difference. The last scene I want to show you is a tree where the sun is right behind it, and as you can see in a natural profile we have lost all details in the foreground. The foreground is really dark, and with the HLG profile we still have some details in the foreground and it is much brighter than in the natural picture profile. So to sum this up, the HLG profile is a great picture profile for scenes with high dynamic range. It is said to have 1.5 stops more dynamic range than the natural profile, and I think that is quite realistic. I will still have to test some more with editing and shooting HLG, but so far I'm very pleased with the results. I will also test this HLG against the Vlog as soon as my key arrives. So I hope this video was useful for you. If you have any questions or comments, then please leave them down below. If you liked this video, then please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, then please do so to see more videos in the future. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!